Mr. Engel's here.
Yes.
Ms. Hannah's here.
Yes.
Mr. Leparo's here.
Yep.
Mr. Martin is not here. Mr. Milstein.
Yes, I'm here.
Mr. Bigorini. And Peggy's not here.
Okay.
Two visitors.
All right. So let me, Josephine, I am going to admit that I mixed up the first three, and I don't know which one of you had was first.
Okay.
So why don't you tell me which one is first?
All right. The first one I had was 301, the primary.
Okay, the primary. Then what's the next one?
The next one after that, I tried to keep them in.
It's either 2/3.
Yeah, it's the 303 has to do with the veto power.
Okay, and then the
Okay.
next one would be the president of council,
The next,
I think.
yes.
Okay, so I think I got it in order. Okay, so we're going to hand these out so everybody has a working copy. We're going to, I know that some of the people in the background have asked for them. They haven't been sent to council. We're going to give you a copy to look at tonight, then we're asking you to turn it back in. Is that okay? All right, so the first one is dealing with the mayoral primary. And get my fingers to work. Pass those out to everybody. Would you like a copy? Take it back from you. We're working on that.
You know what I did on mine, and I don't know if you want to do this or not. I numbered it in the back, like number 1. You could do that if you want.
That
It makes
makes
things
sense.
easier for you. Makes it easier for me.
Okay. All right, now,
We have to give these back?
No, you don't have to.
no,
do
it's
this,
just,
Dan.
but they haven't been released to council, so that's why we're not.
Right, if
making
there's
it
any
public.
changes or whatever, we don't want to, the wrong one out
All right,
floating up there.
all right. And this one deals with the mayoral election.
Mayoral.
Sorry, thanks. The primary for mayor. Peggy has indicated that she thinks that the conditions for the primary are spelled out in the exhibit and should be in the ballot language. And I do agree to that.
I would support that as well.
So there's a problem with, we can make the recommendation. I don't know if we have the power to change this, but, if that's what people want, I will talk to Mr. Diebert and say that we were asking that.
Can I ask a question about
Shoot.
procedure?
You probably need Josephine for that. Josephine, we have a question about procedure.
Well, I'm talking about council proceedings, I guess.
Okay.
There's going to be 3 readings, right?
We'd like to do that, yeah.
Council can amend these, correct?
They can.
Okay.
Okay.
We
Yeah.
did it
Oh,
in
yeah.
2009
What did we do?
because we wanted the effective date.
Oh, okay, that's fine.
Yeah, I
Can you
think as
amend, can
long,
council amend anything?
yes.
They can, yes, they're
They-
the elected officials, yes.
Well, I believe the way the procedure works is a councilor can propose an amendment, then they can debate it,
Yeah, just like
for
anything
Robert's
else.
rules, and then they vote on that amendment.
Mm-hmm.
What I was getting at is maybe that would be the better approach to dealing with something like this. Peggy and I have talked about this, and we both feel that, first of all, it should be a whereas regarding the intent.
I'm sorry, what are you talking about? I'm sorry, I got up to go for glasses. and
I'm
I didn't get
sorry.
my-
All right.
No, I
We're
went to
talking
get
about the
glasses,
very
and I
first.
didn't
Let Josephine get her glasses.
I went to get glasses, and of course, they're hanging on my neck. I'm sorry.
Let Josephine put her glasses on.
That were on my neck that I got up for. All right, please, David, say it again.
Okay.
You're in the whereas clauses.
Yes.
Okay.
As a general comment pertaining to all of these, they all use the exact same 3 whereas clauses.
Okay.
Okay? What I believe they are missing, which I believe is a requirement in the state of Ohio, is something regarding intent. And I don't care to get into all the details, but basically, I feel that we need a whereas, lack of a better place to put it, using a fancy word. Whereas the charter review, we proposed a motion that says this is the, our intent for doing this is not described here anywhere. And if I was a voter, I'd want to know, well, why the hell are they doing this? Even if you go further back to the other ones, when you get back here about changing the number of votes, or changing the number of votes required for removal of the building commissioner, for example, where we're simply doing that to make it consistent with the rest of them, there's no statement saying that. And a voter would say, well, why the hell should we bother with this? We're just gonna vote no and move on. And it's not gonna change, and it should be changed. It should be corrected, the clerical errors. So we need to say something about why we're doing it.
I agree with you, but I think from what I've learned from Josephine, I think that the ballot language is, like in the first one we're talking about, section 3, shall the charter of the city be amended? That one sentence is, or question I should say, is what will be on the ballot.
Correct,
But-
yes.
But he's talking about in this whereas clause where it's explaining.
Right.
He's not challenging this part.
No, I haven't gotten that far yet.
Oh.
I am challenging both, and it's not challenging.
Okay.
I'm offering an opinion. I think we need to explain the intent of the ordinance, what it's trying to accomplish and why. And I think that the ballot language needs to be sufficient for a voter to understand why we're asking them to do it, not simply asking them the question.
I think it's, okay, so what happens, it's my understanding that once council approves these, Josephine has to advertise at least twice, and the first time the entire document will be in the paper. And so the whereas clauses that you're talking about, which council approves,
Would
be approved. Then at each precinct, or at least at each voting place, these will be posted so that if a voter wants to know more, they haven't decided, they have an opportunity to read. But no matter what we say in the whereas clause, the only thing that's going to appear on the ballot
Language.
is the ballot language.
Yes.
And I think it's pretty clear, at least to me, that while we may make suggestions, you know, it's a legalese issue that's going to be controlled by the law department.
Okay.
And the Board of Elections, I'll just add the Board of Elections.
That's right, because
No,
I
yeah,
remember once, the Board of Elections actually changed the ballot language that the law department did.
Yeah.
But I can't remember, do you remember what that was?
I don't, but what happens, they do look for succinct sentences and succinct, you know, they're, and then if they don't even like what we have, they send it to the Attorney General. And, you know, we kind of lose control
Right.
a little bit, as long as everything's posted and printed, so the voter has an opportunity to see what the actual language is. And everything is, like Mr. Engel said, the statutory requirement is 2 consecutive times, at least at minimum, 2 consecutive times. And I was just sharing with him before that as of April 30th, the governor changed some stuff just because of electronic gizmos and the ability with electronic. But all of these will be printed in their entirety. And it's been my experience that, you know,
I don't want to lose anything from intent to Mr. Deemer's interpretation.
Well,
I've seen the interpretations before, and I have asked some former charter review members, was this your intent? And it was not real clear that it was their intent. So I'm not going to go any farther if the intent of the issue is not stated in this thing, because I am really sick of ambiguity and all this, you know, you write an ordinance and then I've seen it happen. It goes this way or it goes this way. It never goes the same way all the time. So we need to try to limit this verbiage so that we, you know, to eliminate some of that crap.
may I ask David a question?
Please.
In regard to number 1, as we've numbered it, shall the charter of the city of Macedonia be amended to require a mayoral primary in May of the election year in the event that there are 2 or more candidates, or there are more than 2 mayoral candidates, what do you propose to be different in the ballot?
Well, first of all, I changed the word "for" to "in."
Say that what again?
It says mayoral primary for May. I would change the word "for" to "in." It's trivial, okay, but I would change that word down.
Okay.
When you read it the way I would have written it, not the way it's actually written.
I can't give you an answer to that, okay? I got home from work late last night. I read these things for the first time at 10:30 last night. I read them again about an hour ago, and I just said to myself, I'd like the opportunity to think about that and maybe provide a suggestion for alternate language, and several of them, at least specifically to the language for the ballot. And so that is why I raised the question, can council amend these when they come before council to be ordained? I mean, we're just a charter commission that provides recommendations to council, kind of giving them a path that we think they should take in terms of some things we feel may, improve the city. And so council, I believe, has the authority to take this stuff and can change this language, I think, through amendment. It's because this is going to become an ordinance, right?
Right. Well, according to Josephine, and
Yeah.
I have great confidence in Josephine.
Yeah,
We've been
this
through,
is-
what, 20 of these? Not 20?
Not
10?
quite.
And the only thing,
No.
I guess at
25.
that point, that, for example, the law director might have to say about it is if he disagrees
Okay.
with the language that council chooses to incorporate there.
Now, the exhibit will be the language how the charter changes. You know that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, oh, no, I wasn't sure what that was about. So this is, the exhibit is, this is the proposed new,
Right, and this is the language that was the actual motion. So he
Okay.
didn't change that.
Right.
So this is when the book is edited, this will get placed in there. That you see the 3 dots before and the 3 dots after indicates sections that were above it and below it.
so the language then, so if the charter, if the public approves this First Amendment, then
This will-
the charter would be changed to actually read as section.
This would
as
be
it's
a new,
written.
this would be a new section C.
All right, okay,
So that's, the exhibit is what
okay,
will be in the new
okay,
revised charter.
okay, all right. Okay,
Steve,
yeah, Chuck.
I know I'm getting old, but in the last 20 years, this is the most confusing thing I've gone through, is that we, as a committee, are voted on to use our best knowledge to come up with a change, all right?
Right.
And we argue back and forth, yeah, and we vote on it, then we get a legal opinion from the law department how it should go on the ballot. Am I correct so far?
Pretty, I guess.
Why then shall council, anybody else change it? We sat here, wasted our time. I understand if we do something and the legal department comes up with, this is the legal wording
Right.
of what we said. Am I correct, Dave?
I guess, yes, a lot of department came up with that.
Then why should we have to go worry with, why can't it go on the ballot and let the people decide?
Well, Chuck, the law is, and I'm not arguing for or against
Yeah.
it, it's just the way it is, that council has the power to amend or reject. In the past, council amended one thing, and Josephine told me what it was, and I forget what it was. I remember it was a date,
It was a date. It was the
effective date.
Yeah.
And we did that, and it was then presented to the public, and I think they accepted the charter change. But also, in the past, much to your chagrin, council has said, I'm gonna do it, and it died. Council has a right to do that. I'm sorry.
None of these might end up on the ballot. The council doesn't ordain them.
Right.
They could just table.
Well, that's what I
Right.
was showing him, out of the five or six ordinances that were presented in 2009, only 3 made the ballot.
And these are, and what I was looking at with Josephine are the ordinances of what they looked like in the past,
Right.
and what actually went on the ballot, and because I wanted to make sure if anybody wants to look at it and see with it. So maybe what's a better way to do this is and I know Chuck doesn't want to, this is not Chuck's proposal, but maybe the better proposal is these will go to the council probably for the next meeting. Now, this is not Thursday's meeting.
Not Thursday's
well,
meeting, but I would think the next one, and if there's summer recess, this is what I'm, I think they should have three
Right, I
readings,
agree.
and they're posted for a long time, and.
So maybe a more productive way to spend our night, which I would know if it was definitely, if it was the cast night tonight, is you've got the minutes, unless you want to continue to discuss them tonight. You've got Peggy's thoughts. If you feel that there needs to be changes, you need to get those to your favorite council member. Particularly if you're
My
sleeping
favorite
with
one
her.
doesn't live in my home, I'll put it that
No, Dave, all I want to know is basically,
way. He lives not too far from me, though.
when this committee
He's my
will know exactly what words, what we talked about, will go on the ballot. So let's say out of 10 of these, or whatever it is, we finally get the official wording.
Right.
And if I don't agree like with 5 of them, it's gonna be up to me to go out and convince the public to vote again. I don't know, really reading all this, what the wording's gonna be that's going on the ballot.
We do not, even if we make changes in it, because as has happened before, the Board of Election, at least on one occasion, I don't remember what it was, but it happened. The Board of Elections rejected a lot of Harlan's language. And then, I believe, when talking to Josephine, the Attorney General can weigh in on this stuff too. So,
Yeah.
we are kind of the idea man. We don't have much beyond that, but
I'm looking from something to 1983, and Gilmore wasn't even around, and it's like a 3-sentence thing. Shall the proposed amendment to 302, and, they look for brevity. I mean, it's a 3-liner.
I don't disagree that it should be concise
Right.
and succinct.
You hope
Those
people
fancy words
read-
are short to the point.
Right, you hope that people, read the paper and read the comments. And now that we have I'm just also telling David, now that we have the internet and we have a website, all this will go on there too, which didn't have the capability before.
okay.
But on that note.
So I guess the question is, do we want to continue to discuss each one, or do we want to, if we have questions, concerns, objections, make them known to council, and hopefully a council member will consider your input.
Yeah, that's what I mean, Dave. If we agree whatever we agree tonight on, okay, and council disagrees, does it come back to us to accept, or do we, so whatever council says goes, am I correct?
Council has the final say.
All right.
All we can do is maybe if we don't like it right now, make some tweaks and ask council to make tweaks. Will council make tweaks? God only knows.
So that's what I'm saying, will council, if they get a hold of this by the next meeting, not tomorrow, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Then will council say yes, yes, no, no, no at that meeting, or is it gonna take them a week for them to look it over?
Their ordinances,
No, what we send them, what we want on the ballot.
That's it.
these are ordinances.
Yeah.
They take 3 readings of council.
Right.
Council normally gives them 3 readings.
Right.
And so during that 3 readings, that's 6 weeks. If there's any amendments that need to be made, or then that can be handled at that point in time.
Plus, the public has the right to come and speak on the
Absolutely.
issues as
They do.
well.
And I know that they have.
They have actually.
So that's what I'm saying, once council approves or disapproves, where it takes 3,
Right.
right? This committee has no other say,
That does not come back.
no, that's
In
what I'm
essence, we're
saying.
done tonight.
We are done, in essence, we were really done last week, and
Yeah.
we just, people wanted to see these before they went to council.
Yeah.
I think that that's not fair, and so maybe that's the way to handle it. We should just, and I apologize, this is my first time doing this, and so maybe I'm not as familiar as I should be. So,
Well, I'm understanding some of the things she's putting down here.
yeah,
Yeah.
I think they're valid points. some of
Yeah,
them.
the first, I don't, conditions for the primary spelled out in the exhibit should be in the ballot language.
I think that could be added in there very concisely, and
Okay.
it makes a point. and number 6 regarding the planning commission, I think that you do need to say 5 electors. That's not spelled out.
Yes, same thing, and the intent.
Right.
Well, all the discussion and debate that we had in here
Right.
got completely lost in that simple, basic question. And personally, I think it was intentional. But
Well,
just my opinion, whether it
that's
was or it wasn't, doesn't matter.
So
We
certainly.
had the opportunity to bring it to council.
Right, and I certainly think that that makes sense, and council can put probably whatever they want to in the whereas clause, as long as it's not slanderous.
The whereas clauses aren't law, so.
Right, they're not, so we can pretty much muddle what we want.
Well-
All right,
Doesn't council ultimately decide the ballot language for any
no,
issue that
No.
goes to ballot?
no.
Okay.
Again, council has the right to pass this document as an ordinance. As part of that process, council has a right to amend section 3, the ballot language. That ballot language then goes to the Board of Elections.
Okay.
The Board of Elections has the right, if they don't like our ballot language, to change it.
Okay, I understand now.
And they have done it.
Right.
And there is another process whereby the Attorney General may have the final
Okay.
yip yap and tuck. So council does not have final control. Deemert does not have final control. Mayor does not have final control. The Board of Elections and Attorney General have final control. Is that right? Okay. So, what do we want to do? Do we want to continue to talk about each of these, or do you want to take the written ones home and you can, if you have changes or amendments, get them to a councilman by the next 2 council meetings, not excluding tomorrow? Didn't count.
I just have one question.
Yes, please.
The proposed amendment for the president of council to run the council meetings, not the mayor.
Right.
Down here in section 5, it says 2/3.
What,
That would be, all right, I'm gonna hand that one out for everybody to look
It
at.
would have been the 3rd one printed.
Here we go. Everybody take one. Okay, what's your question?
Why does it say 2/3 vote
where are you reading?
on section 5?
I think that's talking about, the president of council doesn't deal with 2/3.
Okay, because I know why she's reading, I know why this is this, okay?
Oh, okay, I'm sorry.
Because the ordinance that was passed calling for the charter review says 2/3.
I thought we were going to eliminate 2/3.
No, you're.
This is a different thing.
This is a different thing.
This is a different 2/3.
All right.
Okay, so the ordinance, council for what? Council, when they prepared this ordinance, actually, the ordinance was not prepared by the law department. The ordinance that was prepared by Ms. Hannigan, and there were motions made on the floor by council, which they all supported. And one of them one of the amendments was 2/3. And that's why he had to put that in there.
And I can't remember, Josephine, but I thought historically these were always, and I think by charter or Ohio Constitution requires the 2/3 support of council. to put these on
And
the
I
ballot.
believe that that's true, and I think that's why the amendment was made.
Yes,
Because Ms. Hannigan had put in 3/5,
right.
and it wasn't, first of all, that particular faction didn't even exist, you know, we couldn't, and then that.
Fraction.
Yes,
We have enough factions.
fractions.
Yeah, faction.
I can barely think.
Okay, so, aside from
This
what
is
Joe,
slightly different.
do you understand why that was?
No, but I'll call Sylvia and ask her.
I can show you the ordinance, and we don't have to,
But the Ohio Constitution requires a 2/3 majority vote of council to place ballots on to place changes on the ballots on the back.
Okay, so what is 2/3 of 5 council people?
It is 4.
10/3, 3 1/3, which rounded up according to Mr. Deaver makes.
But isn't that more than the majority?
It is. And it's supposed to be more than the majority. It's 2/3. So the question is, in our case, is 2/3 3 or is 2/3 4? But the way the charter was passed last time, it's 4, and it's not changed.
And why wasn't it changed?
Well, because it got passed last time and
In 2009?
right. And so that's the charter right now that required, and more importantly, the Ohio Constitution requires 2/3 vote. And so, and that's the way the law is. I suppose one would have to go back and see if we can change by ordinance to 2/3 to
And
3, but I don't think.
So when this process started to call the Charter Review Commission,
Mhm.
Ms. Hannigan actually prepared the legislation. It was not prepared by the law department. And so there were some items taken out that council approved. And it says as amended, it was amended on July, and it was on the agenda since April. So everything that you see deleted out,
Mhm.
council made those amendments. So council changed that from the 3/5 to 2/3. And that's why that language, it follows this because this is kind of like, it's a legal document.
Mhm.
So that's, it's not the 2/3 in the charter amendments that you're proposing. It's a different 2/3.
It's
Okay,
2/3
thank
in
you.
the Ohio Constitution. Okay. All right, so does anybody have it? All right, so I'm not trying to push us one way or another.
No?
Do you?
Motion to adjourn.
Okay.
You don't, you just, I'm just gonna, I don't want to throw a monkey wrench in this. You don't think this will confuse anything, because she makes some valid statements on here. You
I
don't-
agree.
Right, okay.
I agree. Has everybody had a chance to read Peggy's? And you?
I helped write that.
All right.
Okay.
I think that these are very good, and I think we need to address these, and I think we'll try to address them at the amendment process. I think then that, as I've encouraged everybody, in addition to Peggy and David, if they have more things, get those to me so we can deal with them when we need to. And I think we need to remember that ballot language is pretty much required to be a concise question, short, sweet, to the point. So you can't turn it into a 50-word sentence, but certainly a reasonable sentence. Okay. So,
Give them a time frame, so that,
well,
oh, no, you just said we're gonna give these to council, and then, yeah, I got it.
We have 3 opportunities.
Right.
We have 3 opportunities at 3 council meetings to
Yes.
present
You do,
suggestions. or-
yes.
why don't we can pass these out to the members?
Oh, absolutely, if
So-
they could print them off, yeah. Well, let's do them, does everybody, yeah.
Chuck, we pass those around, and then we're going to, I'm going to put them back here.
Yeah, sure. Oh.
Take one, pass around. Take one, pass around. Not being very nice and flipping it back.
No, that's fine. I do that all the time.
How people think alike.
Look at all that. Actually, I found this very interesting, because apparently because of the cost of advertising, the statute changed a little bit.
Really?
Yeah.
Take one, pass around.
And this just changed. In
They
April.
advertise on the internet now, right?
Well, I still wouldn't, I would still do it in a local paper because, but,
Oh, yeah, you gotta give your news leader business.
you know what, yeah, they need it.
That's how the,
It's called, the new statute is abbreviated publication. Now, you still have to advertise once in its entirety.
Okay, I think we're good to go. All right, unless you want to have specific discussions about anything that we've handed out, I would entertain a motion to adjourn.
One question.
One question, yes.
When will this committee, all the BS with the council and the board of elect, get the final wording of what's going on the ballot? In other words, if we send all agree and the council agrees, and then the board of elections is gonna change it, when will this committee know that it isn't Blue Streets, the board said Green Streets? When would we be able to
The
know?
last reading of the ordinance and the adoption.
Well, but then it goes to the board of election.
Yeah.
If the board of election changes it will be notified and we would let you know. That's all I
Okay,
can
so
say.
when the council approves of it, we will get an understanding that what we said they approved.
Yeah, so it'll be out on
We'll
the
get
floor,
that
it'll be
copy.
part of
We'll
that.
get that.
All right, I second the motion to adjourn.
All right, and any other discussions, comments?
Should I write down mayoral, or is that a southern thing? Mayoral?
Is that like aluminium?
Yeah.
So, it's just a few words.
I'd like to thank both you and Josephine for
Absolutely.
your
Thank you.
leadership and participation in the process. It was a learning experience for me, that's for sure.
And
Next time you need a ruler for Mr. Martin.
Okay.
You can snap his knuckles.
All right. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we're going to be adjourned, and I want to thank you all too for your participation. And there's a question, yes?
Actually, there's not a question.